world of cinema, there's an idea called an establishing shot. Usually a wide shot that lets you know where we are. I do this in a lot of my videos, but I wanted to move as fast as possible to make a connection to the audience. So I went with a character introduction first in the editing room. Putting this out there for budding videographers, it's weird to just stick a camera in someone's face unannounced. This is Zach. I've built a rapport with him over time, and when I first saw he was rocking this super clean TSG Pass helmet, I was like, okay, the TSG Pass is a cultural icon in this community. And so when I saw Zach rocking one, I just rolled up to him and I was like, hey, your helmet's looking super clean. Can I get a shot of it? And so I made the situation about the helmet. It's awkward to be like, hey, can I shoot your face? Right? It's weird. It's like, look over there. Yeah, just stare into that abyss over there. If it winks back to you and does finger guns, don't react. It does that all the time. It's just trying to get your attention. Okay, I got off track there. The point is that I made it about the helmet, not about his face, his appearance. And that reduces the tension of sticking a camera into someone's face. Make it about their earrings. Make it about their hair, or in my case, lack of hair. Make it about their hat. Reduce awkwardness with your subjects. Alright, so this one, I wanted to mimic the look of a slider shot without a slider, because who wants to carry one around? I have a video later in this playlist how we can fake this slider shot on a cell phone without having to carry a slider around. Nobody wants to do that. They're heavy, they're bulky. But here I wanted to introduce our second character, the Kingsong S18. The first wheel to the market with built-in suspension, and we got a review unit at BAESK8, so it's going to be the start of the show here. This isn't a sponsored video. I just love electric unicycles, and suspension is new here, so I wanted to check it out. I also wanted to get some of these knee pads in the shot too, because BAESK8 crew is all about safety gear. I mentioned the TSG Pass helmet as an icon, and that's because this community looks at safety gear as a form of fashion, as a form of expression, but ultimately as an important piece of their culture. And so I wanted to allude to that before we dove into the ride. Next shot is establishing a third character, so to speak. The crew as a unit. We went from the individual to the wheel to introducing the name of the crew that's going to be featured, and then boom, straight into the starting line before taking off. There was a little build in the music here, and so I wanted a moment of stillness to reflect the upcoming drop. And we're off to the races. I'm using some funky transitions here because I'm cutting from wide angle to wide angle, from group as a subject to group as a subject. And while I love using hard cuts between scenes, when you hard cut between those types of samey shots, it gets visually, it's just jarring. And so I'm trying to smooth them out and add a little interest using these film burn transitions. We've got a close-up on the S18 again, and in hindsight, I should have used a different shot here because I had already shown this angle earlier. Maybe a side shot would have been better, maybe something fun like this silly skateboard shot. This is something that I feel like we always need to consider when we're watching our own work in hindsight. There's always something that could be done a little bit better, and analyzing the video lets us learn how we can improve, how I can improve the next time around when I get behind the camera again. Okay, we've got my favorite shot coming up, this orbit around the longboard with some fun speed ramping to keep interest. How am I doing slow-mo and speed ramping throughout this video? With a 24 frame per second cell phone footage. Got a tutorial coming up on that in this playlist on exactly how to make that happen. So click the playlist at the end of this video, you can get in on that action. I ended up filming this next shot just by virtue of the way I was holding my camera. When I pulled it into the editing room, I was reminded of some photography I'd seen in the past of cities and beaches being presented upside down in the frame for more interest. And so I kept it that way. Sometimes mistakes like that turn into a neat look, and so I just rolled with it because it made me curious to kind of undo the visual puzzle that was presented and flip it right side up in my head. It added a little bit of mystery to the video and a little bit of intrigue, so I went with it. Speaking of flipping right side up, I used this little spin transition to get us back to reality, straight up into this close-up of, you guessed it, the Kingsong S18. I got a chance to ride it around a bit, and I wanted to show it more from that first-person kind of perspective. Here I saw this line of like 5 scooters in a row, all blacked out, once again with that TSG helmet. It wasn't the same helmet as the one we saw earlier, but of course it still is the same helmet, so it connects the story together. Plus, I just love it when a bunch of things that look the same all line up. The human eye loves repetition, and so this shot really stood out to me. And we wrap up the video with the crew huddling together for the group photo. I'm tucked way in the back, and so I knew my face wasn't going to show up, so I just stuck my helmet as high as I could, hoping it would get in the shot. And as I was doing that, I saw Zach, the person we started with, to my left, and he was raising up his fist with the peace sign, and I was like, that's a powerful shot. And so as I was raising my helmet up, I just kind of grabbed my little phone, my tripod, and moved it around, and it worked out. Remember, the eye loves repetition, so those 2 hands up together are gonna look cool. Boom, we drop into the BAESK8 logo, which looks amazing, and I've got this little light leak flare happening that I added to the previous scene for some drama. Did you see that? And then it kind of let it drip over into the BAESK8 logo so I can connect the scenes a bit more. This is the first video in a whole series on how to shoot the best possible videos just with your cell phone. Yes, you heard that right. All of this video was shot on a 2017 cell phone. Not even an iPhone with nice video, and no high frame rates were used. All 24p. I've got all kinds of tips for you coming up in the playlist to shoot better with your phone, so check out that playlist to get your video game up a few notches, and hit the subscribe button before you jump into those. I'm Sosceles. This is Four Petal Films. See you next time.